No one ever asked her name. Not once in 3 years. They just called her Miss Ruth. No title. No badge. Just a faded name tag and an old mop bucket. Every morning at the Hollowbridge Shelter, long before the volunteers showed up and long after they left, Ruth was there, sweeping, scrubbing, folding blankets, replacing cracked light bulbs. She never spoke much. Just nodded. To the world, she was just the cleaner. To the residents, she was background. But every night, long after the doors closed, people forgot she slept in that shelter too. Same rows of cots. Same stale air. Same prayers whispered into worn blankets. She had her corner. A small locker. A cot that squeaked. And the one thing she kept locked inside, a battered composition notebook. Filled with neat handwriting. 1 page per day. Names. Dates. Faces. No one knew she remembered them all. One night, after a food drive, a young volunteer named Marcus laughed with his friends. "She's always mopping, but the floor's still sticky." You'd think a janitor would care. Ruth didn't flinch. Just kept working. Later that night, when Marcus' shift ended and he walked to his car, he found a folded note on his windshield. One line. "The floor you mopped just caught a man's tears." He never said another word about her again. The rain started around midnight. A storm stronger than Hollowbridge had seen in years. Within hours, the streets turned into rivers, and the shelter's basement, where most of the supplies were stored, began to flood. The staff panicked. Phones rang. People yelled. No one noticed Ruth was already gone. By the time they realized, she'd been downstairs for 45 minutes, and water up to her waist, hauling canned goods onto higher shelves, stacking sleeping mats onto tables, dragging boxes of medication to safety. Someone shouted, "We need help down here." By the time help arrived, Ruth was sitting on the last step, soaked, shivering, smiling. "We saved most of it," she whispered. "Not I. We." The next morning, as the storm died down, people walked through the shelter in quiet awe. Nothing was missing. Nothing was ruined. Because Ruth had already saved it. 2 weeks later, a new director arrived at the shelter, a woman named Shauna Reynolds. Efficient. Smart. All numbers and funding proposals. But one morning, she noticed a line outside the shelter that wrapped around the block. She asked why. A resident said, "Ruth's still here." Confused, Shauna followed the crowd to the dining hall, where Ruth stood beside a dusty old corkboard, now filled with Polaroid photos, each pinned next to a name handwritten in black ink. Veterans. Mothers. Teens. Addicts. Teachers. Ruth had kept their names. Their stories. Their recovery dates. "No one here disappears," Ruth said. "Not if I can help it." She didn't cry. But Shauna did. That afternoon, she issued a new policy. "We are creating a full-time position, resident liaison of memory and dignity. Ruth, if you'll have it, it's yours." Ruth nodded once. Quiet as ever. But the next morning, her corner cot was empty. In its place, a folded blanket. A polished mop. And her notebook, placed gently on the cot. On the front page, in perfect handwriting. "I remember them all. So now you can, too." Pushpin presented by the Soul Script, where quiet stories echo loudest, and dignity never sleeps. Speech balloon. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Who is someone you know that works in silence, and deserves the world? Warning: this story is a fictional dramatization inspired by true acts of quiet strength in shelters across America. Viewer discretion advised.